the past 20 years, vaccination acceptance has really changed. There's two different parts to it. The first is that we are vaccinating children against more illnesses. That's the good news. Our current parents that never saw a sibling get this illness or die from this illness or hear about it, they're cautious about vaccines. Why should I bother getting a vaccine when I never see that illness? And that's the problem that we're facing now.
The actual number of anti-vaccination people is really low, hovers below 10%. But there's a broad swath of people who are vaccine hesitant, who experience hesitancy, and that's a large number of people, even people who are pro-vaccination, who might nonetheless have questions about what vaccines can do for their children and how safe they are and what level of harm can occur.
But I really think the bigger problem is the fact that parents don't really perceive their child's doctor as an expert in their child's care. If the child is sick, they don't usually go to their primary care doctor, but they'll go to a walk-in center. Someone they've never seen before will look at their child, say, here's what's going on, here's what you need, goodbye, you're done. And if they do go to their doctor for a vaccine or a well-child checkup, oftentimes it's brief, less time to really talk about vaccines. The default is the parents then go back to the internet, look it up, and make a decision that's often not based on fact.
So this idea of, if I vaccinate my child and something bad occurs, like would happen from almost any immunization. I immunize my child, they get a fever, they're uncomfortable. How do I weight my role in that bad thing happening to my kid versus if I don't take action and they get sick from that disease? So it's this tension between if I do something and my child suffers versus if I don't do something and my child suffers. How do I weight those two things? And what we tend to see from the work on moral psychology is that this idea of taking action, allowing that harm to happen, carries much more psychological weight than not taking action and having something bad happen. Even though in most cases, not taking action and having that child contract that disease is immensely more harmful than the more benign side effects from taking action and having that kid experience fever for a day.
When they come to me, they have somewhat of a preconceived notion of they don't want to vaccinate. And it's my job and my time to say to them, tell me why. What is it that's worrying them? Get all the information on the table. Once you have all of their concerns, it might be easier. We all live in a community. We interact with our neighbors, our friends, and our friends' children. And our kids go to school. If I want you to drive my child in carpool, the first thing I'm going to ask is, do you have a car seat? And do they wear seatbelts? Because if they don't have a car seat and they don't wear seatbelts, I really don't want my child to be in your car. You could tell me, I've never had an accident, I don't need seatbelts. But in fact, we know that just because you've never had an accident doesn't mean you're never going to. And to be safe, everybody needs to wear a seatbelt. I think about community protection the same way. Just because we've never had a case of measles in our town doesn't mean we're not going to get a case of measles. And if I have to protect my child and you have to protect your child, we're actually protecting all of our friends' children and ourselves and our parents as well. Vaccination is what makes us be part of our community.